A very warm welcome to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Some fantastic weather now, although it's been changeable throughout the course of the day in this part of the Styrian Mountains. And this track really needs no introduction. Back to the days of the Österreichring, and now it's almost like the corners of the old Österreichring have been clipped a little bit to create the modern day Grade 1 Grand Prix circuit here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a fantastic place to go racing, and also a brilliant place to witness the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux, which traditionally stays in its home countries of Belgium, the Netherlands and sometimes Luxembourg, but there's also the chance of doing some away day racing as well. Here at the Red Bull Ring is one of those days. The chance, I think, to race at the later on in the season as well at Hockenheim in Germany. But it tends to stay, this championship, close to the home country. So there are rounds at Assen and to the Zandvoort track on the beach in the Netherlands. A couple of weekends ago, this championship was racing at Spa-Francorchamps in support of the World Endurance Championship. Well, they're on the support bill of the European Le Mans Series this weekend. A late evening race for Saturday night entertainment, and delighted you could be part of it as part of the live stream. Of course, this race being held behind closed doors for very obvious reasons, but sadly I keep looking at these grandstands and think we need some fans in there. The next best thing is to witness the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux on the live stream. So 30 minutes lie ahead of us. My name's Johnny Palmer, and delighted to be part of the coverage for this weekend only for race 1 today and race 2 tomorrow at 9:45 local time. Qualifying has already happened for these cars. It was very fraught indeed and produced an interesting grid that I will run through with you in just a tick. There's also, of course, we need to tell you about the brand new car for Carrera Cup, not only in the Benelux Championship but around the world. The brand new Cup car is the 992 generation of the Porsche 991 GT3 Cup car, effectively. But you'll notice that the contours are similar to a street car. This is a purebred race car, though, bear in mind, and they run with less aero efficiency compared to the GTE cars that will be seen later on in the weekend as part of the European Le Mans Series. So theoretically, some of these cars might be quicker down the straights than the GTE counterparts, because they don't have the drag that the top class GTE machines have. They have still a very large rear wing on the back, but less of the splitter effect, and the rear diffuser less pronounced as well. 510 brake horsepower with a new dual wishbone suspension system. But let's tell you about qualifying, because it was a time of 1:31.385 for Glenn Van Parijs, an NGT Racing, that took pole position. It'll be Javier Masson with all his experience starting alongside for the hashtag Team PGZ by Red Ant Racing to start alongside on that front row. Thierry Van Meulen for Team GP Elite. Car 69 starts on the outside of row 2, and British star Harry King for the Parker Rebs Motorsport crew, guesting for this one round, so he's not up for championship points. Harry King qualifying in 4th position with a 1:31.591. Then we got Sebastian Freimuth and Oep van Eindhoven in the PG Motorsport and Team PGZ cars respectively. Dylan de Dale, who performed so well at Spa-Francorchamps just a handful of weekends ago in the 99 Belgium Racing entered car. Jan Laurissen in the Q1 track racing by EMG Motorsport car. Then Stefan van Rij in the Team GP Elite. Felix Neuhofer, the German, for PG Motorsport. Nicholas Salens in the beautifully turned out Belgian racing car. This is the sister machine to Dylan de Dale's mount. Guylain Cordiel, also for Team GP Elite. They have a total of 5 cars in the entry, including Floris Dulaert and Ziad Geris, who come next and occupy the 7th row on the grid. Philip Puinkens in the 55 Q1 racing, track racing by EMG Motorsport car is next. Then you got Nicholas van Dierendonk, Duvo Racing of Luxembourg with André Moukevos. Vilmulders for Speed Lover, another well-known Belgian Porsche outfit. Ad Hertz in the Team PGZ by Red Ant Racing number 11. And at the back of the field, at a grand old age of 75 years old, Dominique Bastien, who has a very French-sounding name, but he is from the United States of America, and fans of racing within the 24H series will know that name very well indeed, associated with the Belgian team Speed Lover, but they are also a very recognised Porsche Carrera Cup team. And the Belgian squad have a couple of cars towards the rear of the field. Three-pronged class system, which I'll be telling you a lot about throughout the course of the race. You're either in Pro, Pro-Am or Am, and that is decided down to your lap times really, and previous race experience. These cars run with Brembo brakes, brand new tyre produced exclusively for the Carrera Cup by Michelin, the N3 tyre in use for Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux for 2021. This is round 3 of the championship, and the red lights are out, but there's a staller right at the front of the field. Is everybody going to see the stalled car, which started on the right-hand side of the track? That's Xavier Masson, I reckon, that did not get away. And amazingly, everybody has missed him, but there's Carnage on the outside of turn number 1 as well, with 3 cars abreast, one being spat very widely indeed. But Xavier Masson, amazingly, has got running rather late in the day. Thierry Van Meulen duking it out for the race lead with Harry King in the 17 car. Van Meulen in the 69 white machine on the outside, Harry King on the inside, and also very much involved in that scrap is Glenn Van Parijs, as one goes really high on the exit of turn 3 there and scampers across the grass. So 1 or 2 unconventional lines being used on this opening lap of the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux at round 3 of the championship. They were busy and intense races around the 7 kilometres of Spa-Francorchamps as part of the World Endurance Championship support as well. But this is sort of settled down a little bit now to produce Harry King as the race leader, Glenn Van Parijs for MGT Racing running in 2nd position, and then you've got Thierry Van Meulen, who's slipped to 3rd place, having initially led from the start. Very dramatic indeed, though, the fact that Xavier Masson, Xavier was not able to get off the line. And where have we got Masson at the moment? Down in 14th position, looking to try to recover things in the Team PGZ by Red Ant Racing car. Harry King, indicated by the KIN on the scoring tower then, to the left of the picture, comes out of turn 10 and completes the first lap of many over the next 30 minutes. 2nd and 3rd much closer between Glenn Van Parijs and Thierry Van Meulen. And on the inside line of car number 97, which is being driven by Nicolas Salens, is Dylan de Dale. So the 2 Belgium racing teammates getting very close to one another. They're in fact separated by Stefan Van Rij as well. So Van Rij not wasting any time getting his elbows out, and the 72 car runs in 7th position. Green car, which is 4th, is Huub van Eindhoven in the Team PGZ car. So sister machine to Masson's recovering car, and all of these are pro machines at the sharp end, remember. Pro-Am is led by Nicolas Salens in his Belgium racing prepared car, 8th place overall, but crucially leading Pro-Am, and he has right behind him the talent that is Jan Larijsen in the Am leading number 54 car. So actually Pro-Am and Am leaders together on track, as now into turn number 7 goes the train. And the 97 car, just caught a glimpse of there, is Nicolas Salens leading the Pro-Am division. So that must be behind in the green car. The Am leader, no, losing ground actually, the gaining ground I should say, is Jan Larijsen. So Larijsen has not only overtaken the Pro-Am leader here, but is starting to motor into the pros. Look out for car 54, now up to 7th position overall as the leading Am competitor, a class that also involves Wim Molders from Speed Lover, and also Ad Hertz and Dominique Bastien. Squeal of tyres, and that meant that the 7th place car wasn't able to quite make the corner. Jan Larijsen therefore is going to lose positions. Race leader is still Harry King by 0.8 of a second over Glenn Van Parijs. Then you've got Thierry Van Meulen and Huub van Eindhoven in the number 10 car. It's a very crowded house indeed at the top of the hill, turning into turn 3. We've only had 4 minutes of this race. It feels already like a lot longer than that. Lap 3, Harry King starting to boss the affair a little bit, but that's okay because it leaves the rest of the championship regulars, the championship scorers, to duke it out on their own. The 97 car is still the Pro-Am leader, Nicholas Salens, with Floris Dulaert right behind in another Pro-Am car. So they are fighting for the Pro-Am lead. Team GP Elite versus Belgium Racing, with the 97 having the slight advantage. Car 17, entered by Team Parker, or Parker Revs Motorsport as they're known in this outing. And Harry King with some full-on Porsche Super Cup racing to come this year, so this is providing a good opportunity to get used to the car. He has tested it before at Silverstone, but this I think is first competitive action of the 992 generation of the Porsche Carrera Cup machine. It is a real beast and just looks the business, even standing still in the paddock, as Dylan Dodala has a look at the inside into turn number 1. Dylan Dodala fighting over 5th position with Sebastian Freimuth. And Freimuth in the PG Motorsport car, able to hold back Dylan Dodala, who was so impressive at Spa last time out, up to the top of the hill, and Dodala almost struggling there to slow the car down, but did manage to just about get it stopped. And also Salens with now pressure from the recovering Xavier Masson, who stalled on the grid from the 2nd position in the black with the red piping car. A little bit of silver on the side there as well, but Masson is clearly going to be quick because of the qualifying pace that he showed. And the number 2 car on the inside of that's Guillaume Cordial fighting it out with the number 4 of Floris Dulaert, and they have just been overtaken then by Xavier Masson. On to the 4th lap, 1.7 seconds is the advantage over Glenn van Parijs. Thierry Vermeulen for Team GP Elite running 3rd ahead of Huub van Eindhoven. And now we're getting messages on the screen regarding track limits. The track limit policing is slightly different from the European Le Mans Series elsewhere in the weekend, in that the curb in Porsches is counted as the track. So even if you've got 4 wheels over the white line, as long as you're on one bit of the curb, that will be okay. As now from a long, long way back goes Dylan Dodala on the brakes in the 99 car to take away from Sebastian Freimuth. 4th position, 5th position it is. But it will give Dodala an opportunity to maybe close in and home in on Huub van Eindhoven, who does hold 4th at the moment, but there's barely a sheet of paper between the two of them now as they run up the hill between Dodala and Freimuth. They turn right, and oh, nice little move there from Sebastian Freimuth. He stayed way out wide on the approach to turn 3. That enabled him to duck on the inside then, get the slingshot off the corner, and they run absolutely side by side, the run across the top towards Rauch corner. Almost a hint of contact down in the Pro-Am and the Amfield a moment or two ago as Dodala loses the spot he's just gained. So that is Sebastian Freimuth going back through again at the very next corner. What a fabulous battle this is for 5th and 6th places. The blue with the day-glow yellow stripes on the nose of Sebastian Freimuth. Really struggling to keep back Dylan Dodala. As the new shape of the 992 looking very nice indeed in the sunshine we have at the Red Bull Ring right now. Car 99 being told he must respect the track limits at turn 1, which is Dodala, and that will be on the exit of that tricky right-hander that kick-starts the lap. Down through turn 10 and that natural compression point go the battling 5th and 6th place Cup cars then, and across the line. Harry King quicker. He set the best lap of the race last time around as Dylan Dodala gets halfway alongside Sebastian Freimuth, but has to back out of that because I think contact was written all over it really. But Dodala found a little bit more that the brake pedal could give, and the 99 of Dodala is continuing to be ever present on the tail of Sebastian Freimuth. And Jan Lorentzen is really not very far away from connecting with the 5th and 6th place battle. Q1 track racing by EGM Motorsport entry for Lorentzen. The 54 car, Xavier Masson, update on the Dutchman's progress, up to 8th place now with Stefan van Rij, the next car back. more warning flags going in the direction of Dylan de Dale. And of course, if he gets too many warning flags, it may well result in time penalties being issued, and if the race steward is feeling particularly mean, maybe even a drive-through penalty as well. There's going to be an incident investigation after the race between the 97, which is the Nicolas Salens car for Belgian Racing, and the 33 machine. Car 33 I can't see in this race, actually, so that may be an incorrect identification for 33. We might get a correction. Oh no, there is a 33. I've missed it entirely. Felix Neuhofer is the 33 car. There we go. 15th position, and the 97 of Nicolas Salens, as mentioned. 21 minutes to go, and up the hill goes the third place car of Thierry Van Meulen. Also a scrap to look out for is the fight between the two Pro-Am machines, one driven by Ziad Geris and Philip Toinkens in the QR Racing EMG Motorsport entered 55. So 55 is one of the two that is being investigated, as far as track limits are concerned anyway. In the bright orange colours, 55 reaches the top of the hill. Then the blue and black car, which is the team GP Elite of Ziad Geris, entered into Pro-Am. Felix Neuhofer, a pro car, rather out of position down in 15th place. I wouldn't be surprised to see Neuhofer gaining a bit of ground in the next few laps. Hasn't had the ideal start to the race, nor has Guilain Cordial, actually, Belgian racer in Team GP Elite's number 2, running as far down as 12th place. All over the gravel track there, out of turn 8, or through turn 8, out of 7. It was the third place car of Thierry Van Meulen. Very smart paint job for car 69, but Van Meulen's not going to do his tyres anywhere near good enough for the Michelin N3s, the tyre that has been specifically designed for Carrera Cup around the world and adopted, of course, by the Benelux Championship for season 2021. But there'll be quite a bit of dirt on those tyres now, and he may struggle into the next sequence of corners under pressure from Huub van Eindhoven for that final podium place, as a very wide line is taken there by Xavier Masson. Is something not quite right with that car, or is Masson just desperately trying to recover for the lost time at the start of the race? That could have been a huge accident at the start, though, with a car on the front row stalling, and you imagine how little further back down the grid that these cars can see. You are following other competitors within meters of each other, and of course the car immediately in front might be able to avoid the stall Xavier Masson car, but what about the guys behind? Yellow flags were waved very early indeed, and thankfully Masson did eventually restart the car and get going again, but it was a close call for a number of machines, including for, I think that was Stefan van Rij who ran close. And a sign of things to come between Sebastian Vrijmuth and Dylan de Dale, actually, because they were mere centimetres apart at turn 1, and they've kind of been glued to each other ever since. On the opening lap, there was also a moment for Felix Neuhofer, so that explains why the pro car is so far down the order, as the hazard lights were flashing, rejoining after a spin at turn 3. And so many cars in this race not able to make turn 1 safely. Now, thankfully, there is plenty of runoff there. You do have to rather bounce over the sausage curb, with all 4 Michelins probably leaving the ground. But there's that little access road to drivers left to enable the safe rejoining. Now, leading the AM class still, Jan Larijsen in the 54 car, and he has for company Xavier Masson in the number 9 black car. They're mounting the rise virtually together, with Stefan van Rij right behind in the green and black Porsche as well. So not first, second and third, but scrapping over 7th, 8th and 9th places, I make it. Stefan van Rij looking to make some progress from 9th. Nicolas Salens for Belgian Racing had been leading Pro-Am, and still is, actually. But Salens to Dulaert, Floris Dulaert, is only 3 seconds. And then you've got Guilain Cordial just a few tenths further back, as Harry King, we're not far away from half distance, enjoys a 2.5 second lead. Every credit to Glenn van Parijs, though, for not allowing the young Brit to stretch away much beyond about 3 seconds. King has had about a 3.5 second advantage in his back pocket at times, but now fighting back Glenn van Parijs, so maybe looking after the Michelin tyre a little better. This tyre clearly designed for 30-minute or sometimes 40-minute Porsche Cup races, but one or two teams in the longer distance races have proved that the performance of this new N3 tyre can last as long as 3 hours if you treat it right. It's not designed as an endurance tyre, but Michelin seem to have struck something resembling gold as far as the ability for the performance to be retained along much longer distance races than it was originally designed for. 99, Dylan Didala looking out from the draft of Stefan Freimuth, maybe for a move. Well, the orange car has already been in front once, and Freimuth very defensive indeed on the exit of turn 3. Meanwhile, Guylain Cordial overlapping with the recovering Felix Neuhofer for PG Motorsport, and Neuhofer goes through at turn 3. But again, that one's far from decided. Neuhofer to the outside this time, Cordial on the inside. So that should favour Cordial as they reach Rauch corner. And of course, because Neuhofer's out wide, he can make the corner a little more shallow, carry a bit more speed through there, and potentially pick off the position, as there was a mistake there, very slight mistake from Freimuth, and that will allow Dylan Didala back through. Freimuth missing the apex entirely through turn 7, and Dylan Didala was close enough to pounce. He's been ever present since the start of the race, and that will give Didala 5th position for Belgium Racing. PG Motorsport slipping a spot, and Sebastian Freimuth may have to be fairly patient now as he cleans up his tyres after that moment. Felix Neuhofer in the 33 car on the inside of Guylain Cordial is back to live action, and Freimuth gets a very good slingshot out of turn 10, clips the curb on the inside of one note, the Niki Lauda curver, and Dylan Didala gets back in front again. What an awesome ding-dong scrap this is for 5th position between Belgium Racing and PG Motorsport. They're heading up the hill, and the draft is helping with these cars. I mean, they don't have a lot of drag anyway, which means if you can get in the silhouette of a car in front, and that will really help you along the road and give you those extra Ks that are crucial then, kph rather, into the corner, into the braking area when you look to make an overtake. Porsche Carrera Cup racing has always been close through the years, and it looks like the development of this new 992 generation car will just serve to extend that. A lot of the races I've seen in the new iteration of car have just shown that we're in for some cracking seasons all the way around Europe, not least from the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux Championship. Out of turns 6 and 7, and plenty of curb being taken at 8, is the scrap between the 5th, 6th and 7th place cars. So Xavier Masson right with Sebastian Freimuth and Dylan Didala now. Are they maybe closing in on Oep van Eindhoven in 4th position? Not quite, because last time around Van Eindhoven was 0.6 of a second quicker than the chasing pack, so he is able to at least keep his head above water in that 4th spot. Thierry Van Meulen for Team GP Elite, car 69, still running in 3rd behind Glenn van Parijs and the race leader Harry King. Up the hill towards turn number 1 goes Floris Dulaert in the Pro-Am division, and he has Felix Neuhofer right behind. A reminder that the Pro-Am lead is in the hands of Nicolas Salens, the sister car at Belgium Racing to Dylan Didala, and the AM category led by Jan Larijsen in the Q1 track racing by EMG Motorsport, number 54. Harry King now leading the race. He can monitor the gap back to the 2nd place car of Glenn Parijs, but I would say it's fairly comfortable. He's just sort of managing the gap really between his rear bumper and the 2nd place car, which is 2.3 seconds now. So again, Glenn Parijs, if anything, Glenn van Parijs is finding a little time here and there. Just a question of how much Harry King has more to give, should it be required. He's doing just about enough at this stage to stay in front. King back across the stripe, and that will put 12 laps in the book. leads by 2.6 seconds. Thierry Van Meulen in third position, ahead of Up van Eindhoven, who's still finding time. He's just set a personal best through the first sector of lap 12. And he's only 0.9 of a second off the back of Van Meulen, so that third step of the podium is far from decided. White car for Van Meulen and for Van Eindhoven, the green machine, to match the surroundings here at the Red Bull Ring. Dylan de Dalle, Stefan Vrijmuth and Xavier Masson all arrive at turn 3 together. Xavier with far from the ideal start, but he is now very much in a rhythm. And in the background, the dark blue car is the AM leader of Jan Lorijsen for Q1 track racing. So 54 in the AM class, in front of all of the Pro-Am entries. That just shows you the talent that Lorijsen really is. And that metallic dark blue looks superb on this new Porsche Generation 992 car. A lot of really smart paint schemes sported in the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux for season 2021. 2 races already happened at Spa-Francorchamps. Dylan de Dalle, the star emerging from that event, but having to work much harder this weekend at the Red Bull Ring. Inside the final 10 minutes, that steep descent through turns 9 and 10. And then the all-important right-hander to take you along the start-finish straight, with Thierry Van Meulen and Up van Eindhoven only separated by 0.9 of a second now. Stefan Vrijmuth just losing a little bit of ground on the 99 of Dylan de Dalle on that lap. So I wonder whether Xavier Masson is starting to become more of a distraction than Sebastian would want, Sebastian Vrijmuth. And Jan Lorijsen is still in 8th place, leading the AM category ahead of Stefan van Rij and Nicholas Salens. So 3 places gained for Harry King from his starting position. I'm sure he would have been a bit disappointed having only qualified in 4th spot, but he has righted that very quickly. And Harry King reacted smartly indeed to the stalled car immediately in front of him. The way that the grid was formed, it put Harry King and Xavier Masson on the same side of the grid, and Harry King of course would have been focused on the red lights being extinguished from the standing start, and with the clutch depressed, looking to just get the car away as quickly as possible. The last thing he would have expected was a car not moving anywhere, and then he had a decision to make. Do I go left or right? Probably better to go right, which is exactly what he did, because it's incredibly busy on driver's left there, where Glenn van Parijs was parked, and Up van Eindhoven not very far away either. So all the cars remain in the race, all 20 of them, which is 1 more than we had at Spa-Francorchamps last time out. And we should, by the next round, have 21 actually in the field, because all of the slots were sold very quickly indeed for the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. It was going to be, 2021 was going to be an incredibly popular season for the brand new generation of Cup car. Over the line goes Wim Mulders, and that is Nicholas van Dierendonck, I think, just behind. It is, again for Q1 track racing. So the AM entered Wim Mulders, and Van Dierendonck in the 53 car runs in the Pro-Am category. And there's a nice little fight developing as well for 3rd and 4th positions in AM, with Ad Hertz ahead of Dominic Bastien, but at the moment holds the advantage. Now, for 3rd place overall, around the outside goes the number 10 car of Up van Eindhoven. Can he make that high line work? Trying to get in front of Thierry Van Meulen. Van Meulen is keeping him honest though, but the track will turn right next through turn 8. Plenty of curb taken by the all-green car, but neat and tidy driving from both pilots here. And the inside line surely will give Up van Eindhoven the advantage at the Jockenrindt Curve. Although the 69 car not quite done with this yet. Looks to the inside at turn 10, can't make that work, and Up van Eindhoven, late in this 30-minute race, will get the potential 3rd podium spot. He has left that racing very, very late indeed, but might have been saving the Michelin tyre so that he could really charge hard in the closing stages. Dylan de Dalle four-wheel drifting out of turn 1 in the background. But the number 10 car, as it exits the first corner, Huub van Eindhoven for the first time up as high as 3rd position, with Thierry van Meulen desperately trying to hold him back, but he couldn't quite manage it through the 6, 7 and 8 sequence of corners. 6 minutes to go. The run downhill for the second place car of Glenn van Parijs. The 97 of Nicolas Salens exiting turn number 3 to go across the top of the track. And there's still a little bit of it. Well, there's a kink definitely to the right and the left. This is not a straight by any stretch of the imagination between turns 3 and 4. And then the very tricky approach downhill into Rauch corner. A couple of seconds ago, we almost had contact at turn 3 with the Van Dierendonck car from Q1 Track Racing, just misjudging his braking point a little bit, but well backed out of by Nicolas Van Dierendonck there to recover the situation. Meanwhile, into turn 6 goes Philippe Ternkens in the 55 with Ziad Garis as his man in tow, if you like. 55 and 3 totally together with just a car length between them. And speaking of which, you've got Huub van Eindhoven and Thierry van Meulen still nose to tail, and the 3rd place finish is therefore far from decided, both overall and in the pro category. Jan Loraysen doing a really good job still in that metallic dark blue car to lead the AM class, and Nicolas Salens for Belgium Racing enjoys 2.2 seconds as a gap over fellow Pro-Am runner, this time from Team GP Elite, of Floris Dulaert. And 97 leads 4. I just wonder whether that gap is starting to come down there for the Pro-Am lead. It is actually, because Floris Dulaert has just set his best lap of the race, a 1:33.7. So I will keep my eyes peeled as far as a potential change in the lead for Pro-Am in the next 4 and a bit minutes. We may have a bit of extra time at the end of the race, depending on where the race leader is compared to the finish line, of course, because it will be the very next lap completed as soon as the clock reads 0. As through the S-bend at turns 7 and 8 goes the scrap for 3rd position. Now that's starting to open up a little bit now. Huub van Eindhoven able to break the toe to Thierry van Meulen. And again, I want to say that's tyres more so than any drop-off in car performance. Yeah, the 69 very squirmy indeed coming out of turn 10, and it's almost as if Thierry van Meulen can't quite apply the power as readily as Huub van Eindhoven this deep into the race. Will that actually bring Dylan de Dalle into the mixture, I wonder? Because de Dalle doesn't seem to have been taking care of his tyres too much at all, because again he's four-wheel drifting through Niki Lauda Curve at turn 1. But he might be catching the 69 car here. Let's check on the last lap times for de Dalle. 132.9. That's a heck of a lot quicker than Van Meulen. In fact, that was de Dalle's best lap of the race. So very definitely that gap's coming down between 4th and 5th. Sebastian Freimuth just a little bit further adrift in the PG Motorsport entry, 31. He is still 6th. And Freimuth now, the bigger threat is coming from behind, and Xavier Masson in the car that stalled at the start of the race and very nearly caused huge carnage. 2.5 minutes to go. Masson tries to the left, trying now to the right at turn 6. There's the quick blip of the throttle. Freimuth's all over the road and trying to stay defensive into turn 7 now, but he's a little way away from the apex. That will mean that he has to completely straddle the curve at turn 8. And they then climb the slight hill and drop down the other side into the Jochen Rindt curve, named after the posthumously awarded 1970 Formula 1 champion. And down the hill into turn 10. Again, rattling over the curves, Freimuth and Masson running in 6th and 7th places. Another warning flag being shown to, this time, Xavier Masson for track limits. So he'll need to keep on the straight and narrow, if at all possible. The problem is, he's got Sebastian Freimuth, who is driving rather some unconventional lines, and therefore I think in an attempt to overtake, Xavier Masson is pushing the track limits to the very limit. But any more of that and the warning could be slightly more draconian. Out wide goes the 69. This is the battle I was talking about. Well, the gap's definitely come down now between Thierry Van Meulen and Dylan de Dalle. And Dylan de Dalle to the inside line, looking to try and overlap, but he can't into Rauch, so we will try the outside line instead. Now he'll go to the apex as close as he dares and look for a good exit speed. It's pretty much a drag race out of turn 4, through the kink at 5, and set the car up nicely for turn 6. But I would say that the de Dalle car is much pointier, much more manoeuvrable than the Thierry Van Meulen car. And probably the same situation between Sebastian Freimuth and Xavier Masson as well. Harry King, in the meantime, is having to deal with some back markers as he ducks underneath Dominic Bastiat, and I think that was Ad Hertz that he puts a lap down as well in the team PGZ by Red Ant Racing Car. And Ad Hertz is third in the AM category. Dominic Bastiat currently fourth in the part of the race that is led by Jan Larijsen in the 54. Final lap for Harry King, leading by 4 seconds, but the far more intense battle is between Dylan de Dalle and Thierry Van Meulen in the white 69 car, because Huub van Eindhoven is scampering away to cement third place in this opening race of the weekend, round 3 of the 2021 Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. To the outside line, Dylan de Dalle having to try something slightly outside of the box to ensure that he gets a good speed out of turn 3. Now, he tried this a lap ago. He can get alongside Van Meulen, but can he make it stick? They are literally side by side now, door mirror to door mirror, and Dylan de Dalle, as long as he gets his braking point correct, as in the background Masson will go side by side with Freimuth as well. Dylan de Dalle has got ahead of Thierry Van Meulen. And can Xavier Masson on this final lap now slip up the inside of Sebastian Freimuth? Well, not on the outside line running into 6. He can't. Down the hill towards turn 7 they will go now, but Masson, the Dutchman, will get the inside line on Freimuth. There are yellow flags at turn 1. That will not affect this battle as Masson gets through, and Harry King, exiting turn 10, will take the race win as the guest driver for round 3 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. The championship regular, though, is Glenn van Parijs, and that means that full championship points will go the way of the NGT racing car that finishes second on the road. Third position to Huub van Eindhoven in the green, number 10. And what a roll! There's a spin at the last corner. Spin at the last corner for Sebastian Freimuth. Now, was that as a result of contact as I check the rest of the car through? Dylan de Dalle will finish 4th. Fifth position for Xavier Masson. Xavier Masson and Freimuth did not make contact, at least not from that angle, and Masson was ahead as they headed into turn 10. It was just a bit too much right foot, wasn't it, from Sebastian Freimuth. He got onto the curb, that unsettled the car, and a rotation was the result. And Freimuth, much to his disappointment, loses a further 2 places because of that, arriving through turn 10 completely backwards. Never ideal, and Freimuth, who, well, nearly finished 5th, will have to be happy with an 8th place finish at the end. And the spin at turn 1 was the reason why the yellow flags came out on that final tour. But finally, thankfully for Harry King, he was already through that incident area and did not need to back off the pace. Wins it, a 20-lap race in the end, by 4.1 seconds over Glenn van Parijs, and Huub van Eindhoven finishing in 3rd ahead of Dylan de Dalle. Xavier Masson, that's a very good recovery drive actually, considering he lost so many places at the start of the race. Massive credit to the AM winner, 6th place overall for Jan Larijsen, and the Q1 EMG Motorsport car. Stefan van Rij in the 72 car finishes as another pro machine 7th. Then the 2 PG Motorsport cars, Sebastian Freimuth, who spun at the last corner, and Felix Neuhofer, who had very much an up and down round this Saturday evening. Thierry Van Meulen lost a hatful of places as well because of that final corner carnage. And the Pro-Am victory goes to the car just outside the top 10 from Belgium Racing, Nicolas Salens in the number 97 car, who won it by 2.7 seconds over Floris Dulaert for the Team GP Extreme, Team GP Elite crew, I should say, and Team GP Elite turning out with 5 cars in the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux here at the Red Bull Ring. Fans of Luxembourgish outfits, Duvo Racing, while Andrei Mukavoz finished in 17th position. I'm also just noticing that Wim Mulders, who I think was the car spinning at turn 1, did not take the checkered flag. So car 20 stranded perhaps somewhere out on the racetrack. Still hasn't gone through and across the line to see the checker, unfortunately. Wim Mulders, who was in 18th position, hasn't technically lost any points because of that, because the points don't extend that far down the order. But I'm just slightly concerned for the car run by Speed Lover that it can be fixed in time for tomorrow morning's second race of the weekend, which will be race 4 of the year as part of round 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. Well, that was a nice bit of excitement for Saturday night, bringing our track action for the day to a close. And the key cars, as far as the results were concerned, in Pro, Pro-Am and Am, will all head towards the podium now for the presentations. There is room just about in Parc Fermé for all of the 20 cars that took part. Confirmation that Wim Mulders' car is stopped somewhere out on the circuit, but obviously not in a place where yellow flags were needed. So I wonder maybe after the spin at turn 1 he was able to get the car to a safe location. There is an escape route at turn 1. Harry King taking victory in the Pro category for Parker Revs Motorsport. The win in Am goes to Jan Lorijsen, and in Pro-Am it is Nicholas Salens in the 97 car. Well, so much happened in 30 minutes of racing. Mightily looking forward to tomorrow's event, but the potential carnage kick-started very early on indeed, when Xavier Masson couldn't get his car, the number 9, away from the grid, having qualified it so well on the front row alongside Glenn van Parijs. Eventually he did find a forward gear and nobody collected him on the way through. But a very intense fight, enthralled for the next couple of laps as Harry King threaded his way through the eye of a needle to take the race lead early on, and the rest of the cars, including number 69 Thierry Van Meulen, Glenn van Parijs, Huub van Eindhoven, all duked it out for the first couple of laps to settle down into a top 4, and Huub van Eindhoven in 4th eventually would fashion an opportunity to get through. The pace, the early pace of Jan Lorijsen was mightily impressive though, as the Am category leader. And the Sebastian Freimuth and Dylan Dedala scrap just enthralled throughout. It was so intense with the side-by-side action lap after lap. Freimuth led a corner, Dedala led a corner, and the nature of this track, which switches from left to right all the time pretty much, means that you have to be on the right side of the circuit to fully take advantage. Because they were running side by side for so long, it did take quite some time for finally Dedala to establish a 4th place in the running order. Xavier Masson had to work very hard to recover the lost ground early stages. He got an overlap on Jan Lorijsen into turn 1 and picked off the Am leader. Freimuth and Dedala were still hard at it, and the blue and amber car around turn 7 finally bowed to the slightly more pacey Dylan Dedala. Felix Neuhofer and Guylain Cordiel ran side by side as well for many a lap. Cordiel to the inside at Rauch corner, and eventually Neuhofer in the Pro car did get ahead of the Pro-Am entered number 2. The Pro entered number 2 rather, Guylain Cordiel. The Pro-Am runner, Floris Dulaert, certainly kept the eventual Pro-Am winner very honest throughout, Nicholas Salens, as the checkered flag fell on Harry King as the Pro leader. Oh, there was some contact. Okay, so that's what happened at turn 1 on the final lap. I missed that first time around, but it was a spin for the Wim Mulders car after contact from Nicholas van Dierendonk. And that brought out the caution at turn 1 on the final lap. But it didn't affect Harry King. It didn't affect Jan Lorijsen either, who were on course to individual class victories. And the 97 car of Nicholas Salens kept out of trouble as well, although had to deal with the ever-present Felix Dulaert, Floris Dulaert from the Team GP Elite squad, 97 and number before. And then a very dramatic moment just before the checkered flag for Sebastian Freimuth, who spun through turn 10, but not as a result of contact, just a bit too much power applied. And around he went, but Sebastian Freimuth did finish the race. 20 laps completed. Harry King wins by 4.1 seconds in the Parker Revs motorsport car from Glenn van Parijs for NGT. Up van Eindhoven in the team PGZ by JW Race Service car third. Dylan de Dale, a race that will live long in his memory, you get the feeling, for Belgium Racing, outpacing Xavier Masson, Jan Rijten, who's the AM winner, Stefan van Rey, Sebastian Freimuth, Felix Neuhofer, and Nicolas Salens is the Pro-Am winner in the Belgium Racing entered car. Floris Dulaert ahead of Thierry Vermeulen. Big story regarding that 69 car, that for the 9/10 of that race it was going to finish on the podium, and in the end he finishes 12th. Guylain Cordeel 13th ahead of Ziad Gerris. Philip Teunkens in the 55 car 15th ahead of Nicolas van Tierendonk, who was suffering from a very long brake pedal late on, you get the feeling. Almost outbraked himself into turn 3, and then there was contact on the final lap at turn 1 with Wim Mulders, who's the only non-finisher in that race. Duvo Racing finished 7th. Ad Geerts in 19th place as another AM runner, and Dominique Bastien, although a lap down, did get to the finish in the Speed Lover car. So there you go. That is the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux done for the day. But don't forget, we have full coverage of tomorrow's round, bright and early tomorrow morning. The podium as well is being readied so that we can bring you coverage of that and the trophy presentation very, very shortly for the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. First away day of their season, and I'm sure they have very much enjoyed a visit to Austria. Tomorrow's race is scheduled for a 9:45 time to start the race, that is. That's a local time of Central European summertime. Our coverage will begin, therefore, at 9:40 on the live stream, and we look forward to your company for that. And then hopefully, if you can commit the rest of, or a significant chunk of the rest of the day, to the European Le Mans Series, then we would very much like you along for the ride in ELMS, which starts at 11 o'clock. There's confirmation of the official, the provisional classification. It won't quite be official just yet. The fastest lap was set by Harry King, a 1:32.384. And Harry King was a star in last year's Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain. He is due to be doing some Super Cup action this year as well, in support of the Grand Prix. And maybe to be racing here actually in Super Cup. I haven't checked that, but certainly a bit more seat time for the Brit in the new car. And if he can get a couple of races in a track that he'll be visiting later on this season, then that's an even bigger bonus, you might say. Real shame for Wim Mulders in the what was the second placed AM car at the time. Interestingly, he hasn't been demoted though to 20th place, so I think he will still hang on to that second place finish, having completed more than 75% of the race. So that will put him ahead of Ad Geerts and Dominique Bastien to give him second place points in the AM category of the race. It's a separate point system for each of the 3 levels, whether you're running Pro, Pro-Am or AM. And the various drivers there involved are waiting in the wings next to the podium. So this is for the Pro top 3. Up van Eindhoven in the green and white race overalls to the 3rd step of the podium. Second place going to Glenn van Parijs for the NGT racing squad. The fist pump between those 2 drivers. And quite clearly the COVID-19 masks required for the top 3 podium finishers. Let's hear the national anthem of the winning driver, Harry King, who takes victory. national anthem of the United Kingdom then for 20-year-old Harry King. He is already a BRDC Rising star back in his home country and a double champion, actually, not only in Genetis but also in the Porsche Carrera Cup GP last year. Are they going to spray the champagne, or are they going to keep their race suits pristine for tomorrow morning's action? It's the latter, and that seems sensible to me. I'm sure there'll be a bit of time put aside for a slurp of the fizzy stuff, though, this evening in the paddock, and then the preparation can begin for tomorrow morning's 9:45 start time for the second race of the weekend. Now, the podium, I believe, will be redressed to welcome the top three from Pro-Am in a moment or two. There'll be a separate podium for the AM top three as well. But obviously, time needs to be allowed to get the drivers safely, the drivers we've just awarded trophies and champagne to vacate the podium safely, because quite clearly social distancing needs to be adhered to. Everybody is wearing the, as is the permitted mask in this part of the world, the FFP2 mask. That's the reason why it's the full white or indeed black mask, which has passed certain tests and is the only legal mask to be worn in Austria. And those are sported on the podium as well. And we will turn the spotlight very quickly to the Pro-Am division, which was very much alive in the middle order, actually. Hopefully we had enough time to mention that scrap. It was bossed pretty much from the start by the race winner in the end, but a 2.7 second margin winning victory does rather indicate that the winner didn't have it all his own way. He would have been well aware of where Floris Dulart was throughout the course of that 30 minutes. But a third place finish in Pro-Am, going the way of Ziad Geris, to the third step of the podium for Geris for Team GP Elite. Second place for his teammate Floris Dulart, but it is a win from Belgium Racing for Nicolas Salens in the 97 car. And we will hear the national anthem of the winning driver. Nicolas Salens, then, who hails from Belgium, 39 years old, bronze rated, but his performance in that race might prove that he may not be a bronze for too much longer. Cousin David Salens, also a well-known driver in many different Porsche divisions, but he's also a former French Formula 3 champion, David Salens. 1998 that happened. He was also the F3 Masters winner that year too. So the Salens family, very successful indeed, and Nicolas Salens tending to favour Porsche Cup racing, whether that be within the Carrera Cup Benelux or sometimes appearing in the 24H series as well at events like the Dubai 24 Hours. So well done to Nicolas Salens. We'll see him again tomorrow in the 97 car, and probably not very far away from the front of the Pro-Am battle. But now a very quick podium redress again, and we will welcome the top three in the AM category for the following teams: PGZ by Red Ant Racing, Speed Lover, and the win went, as I mentioned many times, to Q1 Track Racing by EMG Motorsport. Drivers are just out of frame, but will be introduced to the podium very shortly by the local speaker here at Red Bull Ring. And there indeed is his voice in the background. Third position for car number 11, Ad Hertz. Second place, despite that spin at turn one on the final lap after he was rather rudely nerfed out of the way. Wim Mulders does get second place in the number 20 car. and the win, way up the order, 6th place overall for Jan Lorijsen. And therefore we will hear the national anthem for Jan right now. Jan Lorijsen taking victory in the AM category, and a really good overall result as well. A chance for the top 3 drivers to group together very quickly with the Michelin caps on. That rather counters some of the backing there, but that's all part of the European Le Mans Series, of course. Michelin and Verbendum is still very much present there on the caps. With thanks to Michelin and to Brembo as well, many other partners associated with the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. Hope you've enjoyed that. 30 minutes of cut and thrust action, and we're promised just about the same tomorrow. Join our coverage from 9:40 Central European summertime tomorrow morning for a 9:45 start. Really looking forward to it. Join me, Johnny Palmer, then. Bye-bye for now.